And moving on now, the rise in global consumer purchasing power and digital innovation has fueled record growth in the hospitality sector in Africa. Now, this has been attributed to the increase in hotel investments that has buoyed revenues for countries such as Kenya. The country has seen an increase in the number of properties lining up for a space in the market, with an expected 1,800 rooms added over the next 2 years. That's according to PwC. The international hotel brands with about 2,600 rooms will enter the market, accounting for about a 14% increase in hotel capacity. Well, let's delve further into Kenya's hospitality and tourism sector. We're joined by Hasnain Noorani. He is the founder and MD of Pride Inn Group here in Kenya. Very great to have you in the studio, sir. Now, let's talk about the growth we're seeing in Kenya's tourism sector, estimated at about 7% over the next 5 years. That, of course, has been spurred on by increasing investment, especially in the hotel industry. You're one of the fastest growing hotel groups in the country. What are the trends that we're seeing inspiring this increased investment in the tourism sector?
So thank you very much. First and foremost, we must understand that if you look at Kenya in general, or even within Africa, there is a big rise of the millennials. We all know millennials are people who are born between 1980 and the year 2000. So there's that huge growth in the millennials. And these are people who are not only looking for brands, but they're looking for experiences within any particular country. And these experiences that they're looking for is what is shaping up the hospitality trends and the investments. Secondly, you can also look at it this way, that there is that increasing, all these young millennials have a very high disposable income, because these are people who are working in some very fine corporate companies. They have some fine packages, and they're looking to experience different products and services. So this is only looking at within Kenya or within Africa itself, but also looking at the general international trend. Africa is virgin, Africa is pure. The entire experience that Kenya offers, if you look at Kenya, we have one of the finest beach. We have bush safaris, we have wildlife safaris. So all this contributing is increasing the appetite for hospitality investments within Kenya and within Africa in general.
Now, as a result of this, we're seeing competition really picking up in Kenya's hotel industry. I'm sure you'd agree with me. Yes. We've seen huge names, Accor hotels, coming to open new branches or new hotels in the city. Marriott, Best Western, pouring funds to expand. You as well are looking to expand. Give us a sense of what competition is like in the sector, in Kenya's hotel sector right now.
Okay, generally, first and foremost, we must understand that with these international brands coming into Kenya, most importantly, they are giving us the global recognition, so which is a fantastic thing to have, because they are putting Kenya on the map. They have their own marketing activities that happen there. They have their own advertising activities. But if you're looking at within competition, yes, we see quite a large number of hotels coming up, but they all have their own different experiences.
Right.
If you compare Pride Inn Hotels, which is a local brand, which is a homegrown brand, yes, and we understand the local markets thoroughly well. We are able to offer right what exactly our visitors expect in terms of the local feel and touch, which is where you see that, yes, as much as competition is intense, but then everyone has their own knowledge and expertise. Secondly, within the local market, as the local homegrown brands, we are also trying to shape up to make sure that we're offering the feel and be able to compete with the international brands.
Right.
So this all in all itself is so every particular brand has got its own market segment that they offer. And secondly, also looking at it is in terms of generally people these days, when they go abroad, they want to have the feel of the local touch. And that's the reason why you see Airbnb, these technology-driven platforms are growing so large. And Airbnb is particularly particularly people who want to have homestays, which is homestays particularly offer the local touch. So we have, and then with the increased demand of people coming into Kenya, and especially the MICE market, which is the meetings, incentives, congresses, and events, that increased demand that is coming into Kenya, the air connectivity, it is bringing in the numbers, which is where, yes, as much as competition is there, but I think everyone is sharing their own market segments.
Right, and of course that leads to my next question, which is about international standards. Is Kenya matching up to international standards? We're seeing internationally a lot of new trends in terms of the guest experience, both in terms of technology, as you mentioned, in terms of sustainability as well. So how are you keeping up to those international standards?
So first and foremost, with international standards, as a local homegrown brand as Pride In, first and foremost, we always ensure that I'll talk about Pride In general. Right. We understand what the local businessman wants, what the international businessman wants. We know that we have focused on our brand promises, which is the 6 brand promises, which is a good night's sleep, relaxed shower, hot breakfast, business and Wi-Fi, maximum security. Mm-hmm. We understand that the international traveler is looking for such experiences, and we are continuously investing within our hotels to make sure that we are keeping up with the international trends when it comes to Wi-Fi. Right. People these days need Wi-Fi, and they want to post the experiences immediately on every social media sites. So we ensure that we are always keeping up with the high speeds of Wi-Fi. In terms of the room designs, we understand how exactly a guest wants to have the room experience. And with our new hotels that we are now coming up, we actually ensure that the room designs are suited to matching. Right. But in our recent hotel that we recently built, which is the Pride in Paradise Beach Resort, what we realized is that people are looking at more experiences within a particular facility. Right. So when people come in for meetings to our resort, they want to bring in their families. People are becoming more and more busier. Businessmen and businesswomen are becoming more busier. They don't have time for their families. So the best thing to do is to combine business and leisure combined, which is what we have launched a concept known as Bleisure. And what we have done is we have actually put in a safari-themed aqua park along with the convention center, right, and then a world-class spa. So what we're trying to do is we are offering everyone in the family something to do, and yet after the day has finished and the business meetings have finished, people are able to come and sit down, families able to sit down and still enjoy a good family time.
Right.
So now, this is how it's happening, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as we mentioned, you're a homegrown company, and you're looking to expand further into Kenya,
yes, that's right,
add new properties to your portfolio. Give us a sense of your expansion plan going forward, and also how confident are you in Kenya's economic and political landscape going forward?
So first,
for the business.
So first and foremost, as Pride In, we have a very aggressive expansion plan. We want to establish a hotel in every major county within Kenya. That's our first goal that we want to do. What we realize is that creating facilities is the first step towards creating a demand for a particular county, and this is something that I would encourage all the governors within the country to look at, to be able to offer incentives to hospitality investors like ourselves. And especially if you're looking at the various local counties, a lot of the international brands would want to invest in the first-tier cities. It is homegrown brands like ourselves as Pride In, we are the ones who are looking at the second-tier cities. If we are looking at establishing, example, a hotel like what we have done in Mombasa, like the Pride in Paradise Beach Resort, if you're able to establish a large convention center in Kisumu, for instance, or in Eldoret, that itself prompts people to get into Kisumu, Eldoret for meetings. This is what we observed in Mombasa in 2014 when we invested in Mombasa. Mombasa was on its knees, or the coast was its knees. Tourism was on its very low. And when we announced the investment, people were actually wondering why were we doing the investment. But it was at that time we realized that Mombasa did not have convention center facilities. There were no meetings being held. If you compare that with the Dubai, with London, a lot of Dubai and London was being kept busy because of the large exhibitions, the large conferences, the large conventions. And the first step towards even leisure tourism is also business tourism, because right, if there's a business meeting, you're going to travel for a business meeting. So this is what we have done, and this is what we plan to expand. We call this the Bleisure model, where we want to bring in the actual business and leisure model within the various major counties. Obviously, the expansion doesn't stop there. We are looking at the region, but then right, we're also looking at going East and Central African also.
Okay, so expanding for beyond
yes,
Kenya
right,
as well. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, we do have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Of course, that was Hasnain Noorani, is the founder and MD of Pride In Group.